And what a first game that has been. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have caught our breath, and there has to be a bit of a discussion over at this desk, because that, my friends, I mean, Moses, you know what I'm going to say to you?
Yeah.
Can I just remind everyone at home, if you missed it, Jason made the outlandish statement that Dust 2, there was a 0% chance, which you then corrected by saying only if Get Right gets 40+ frags. So, my friend, I'll let you dig yourself out of this one. Let's go.
I don't know if it's possible.
Okay.
I really don't know if it's possible. But if there's one team that I don't mind shutting me up, it's NiP in this fashion.
Yeah.
To see them performing at that level, that's really, really cool stuff against TSM. Yeah, and it wasn't just Get Right and Force. It was all who had some good rounds. There's Exist showing up to play. We said they were going to need more than just those two superstars to beat TSM, and that first map looked good.
What about Anders? You know, you massively biased NiP man. What have you got to say about that one?
Well, to be fair, I did also predict that TSM was going to win. And
we all did 2-0.
But so here's a pro tip for you, Moses.
Oh,
always leave a little bit of room.
Just a little bit.
I said 10%, so now...
I am new to this thing.
Now, this was just like, if they play another 10 times, or another 9 times, then like TSM won the other 9 times. So I'm still technically correct, even though I was awfully wrong.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, just always leave just a little bit of room. That way you're always right.
The cool thing to mention is this is a NiP team that, much like in the past when they were having all their success, this is a NiP team that's imposing their will on these teams. We saw them slow down Envy, really curb the aggression that Envy is known for. You know, in IEM and in Cologne, you know, the things they were doing, they slowed them down, made them play a safe default for the first 30 seconds of every round. Here against TSM, they just controlled that from start to finish. And you know, we were talking, we said TSM only needs 5 rounds on their CT side. They only got 3.
I'm getting to a point where like the B hold for TSM is actually making me angry. Like I'm sort of spitting at the screen backstage, get so mad. I don't know what it is they mean to accomplish, but they continuously put themselves in a position in that B bomb site where the only way it's going to work out in their favor is if they get the first kill every time. They need a kill in middle, or they need a kill in upper dark, and preferably in both places. And if one of the two people holding B dies, then the other person will have no chance of doing anything. And I don't understand exactly why that was. There were a couple of rounds where they decided to give up on holding upper dark, and they both pushed middle to try and fight. And I'd rather have them do that. Then you win the fight in middle, try and retake B. But otherwise, they're setting themselves up very strangely.
Do you reckon that's just TSM who don't regularly get punished for risks like that? Is that a standard B play from them, or was that just them thinking they had NiP in the back?
They did the same yesterday when they were playing... Who were they playing on this map yesterday?
Rewind the clock.
I can't remember, but...
Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic. They did the exact same thing, and the result was very similar. You either win those initial aim duels, and here's the other thing. Everyone knows how they hold. Like, they love holding that window. TSM is one of the few teams that keep doing it, and it keeps sort of backfiring on them because it's so easy to stop.
Yeah, and it's just a bummer because they have a really, really good terror side. Their terror side is a lot of fun to watch. They find a lot of success on it. But they didn't give themselves any window for mistakes, any window for errors. And they just, I mean, losing that eco is, I mean, that was just crushing. And like they looked like they could have had a bid for a comeback until that eco slapped them right in the face.
So the story really lies in front of us now. This was set out by us at the desk and by a lot of people at home as well, thinking, okay, NiP, they've done well to get to the semis. They've come this far. It's a little bit of luck, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of everything, all mixed into the pot after a relatively lackluster performance as of late. Now, what do we call this, Anders? What do we call this now?
Well, my theory was that they were going to be simply without any pressure, and that once they get to the semifinals, the pressure would be there. But apparently, they still play without almost any tension at all. If they can keep doing that, they might be able to beat them on Mirage. But TSM is a really strong team on this map. It won't be easy.
It most definitely will not be easy. It's time for us to dive then into our second map of this best of 3. Can NiP topple Team Solo Mid? A feat we wouldn't have been expecting not too long ago. Let's jump on into the action then on Mirage.
Thank you very much, guys. So, Mirage underway. We heard what they had to say. Let's talk about it, because we were just talking briefly off air about how do you analyze that last game. How do we go in towards Mirage now with NiP seemingly in form?
In form and carefree. I think that's the keywords for NiP right now. If you're TSM, you just kind of have to forget about Dust 2. I think that was as far away from your usual game that you normally see from them and how they feel a normal Dust 2 game plays out. So I think they're just going to scrap that completely, go into Mirage, and just, again, one of the strengths that TSM have had for the longest time is their consistency in their play style. The fact that they, especially on the CT sides, they have a very, you know, obvious way of playing to everyone who watches them. Pretty passive, not taking a lot of chances, but it works. So I don't think they have to stray away from that. After the addition of Kerrigan, obviously, they started doing a bit more stuff, you know, playing that CPL window with the op on Kerrigan, and that's been working out pretty well as well. But TSM just don't have to stray too far away from their norm. I think that's the biggest mistake they can do.
Just as we were talking about T-side before, I think CT side is generally the preference for the start in here, and I think we may see a switch. TSM are going to get the choice because they won the knife, and sure enough, they are going to switch out. So it'll be TSM starting out on the CT side, and NiP, of course, going over towards the T. Obviously, this is a TSM map choice. It's exactly what they'd want to start off. They've got to get themselves a couple of rounds under their belts here to get things really rolling.
Yeah, and they pretty much have everything laid out for them right now to take this map. And it sounds kind of silly before the game has even started to say that kind of thing, but it's like you said, it's their map pick. It's been a map they've been extremely strong on for a long time, and they are CT experts.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting TSM to get off to a hot start, and if they don't, if they end up in a similar situation like on Dust 2, I think that just might be it. I think that, you know, normally you don't see a team like TSM tilt necessarily, but they do have that stigma around them from previous, you know, previous tournaments. If you go far enough back, that they are, you know, choke artists. So that could come into play here, that they just kind of give up on themselves and start losing faith.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Map 2 underway. It's the semi-finals here, the ESL ESEA Invitational. Live in Dubai. Team Solo Mid are trailing Ninjas in Pajamas 1-0, and NiP already trying to start things off fast. And we were talking about the fast and loose style that maybe they had in the last map. Mirage, actually, this kind of suits them, the fast and loose. This could work for them. Freiburg quickly challenging out Cajun B on short there, and are already pushing on through.
A bit of a deja vu from the pistol round on Dust 2. Cajun getting picked off on Catwalk. Oh. And now Zipnix is in a lot of trouble. Bomb's going down already.
Oh, quick aim punch, and Zimnix has already been picked off. That's going to be, now, Get Right pushing on through. Kerrigan found out in Kitchen, and NiP are just swarming on TSM, and wow, perfect round from them. A killer piece, absolute teammates for NiP. That's how you start a pistol round.
That's definitely how you do it, and I guess there can be made a case for the fact that Kitchen should have been able to pick up a frag on Freiburg there, but, you know, when you get like semi-jump headshots going your way, I don't see NiP, you know, losing confidence off of this, obviously. So they're just going to keep the tempo up.
But look at the pace. Look at this is exactly what we're going to see from NiP, I think, throughout. And it's down to TSM to stop this, to put them in their tracks. Forest already making his way up connector. Kerrigan actually at window as well. So I wonder if he's even realizing that maybe they have that little bit of mid control. I'm not too sure. We're going to see a little pass by him, but Device finds Forest, and that is going to work wonderful. That's the UMP in his hands, but NiP stacked out at the moment, waiting for this smoke to clear. Get Right and Alu with Freiburg going through underpass. Agent B. This time around, TSM have rotated, but the question is, have they overloaded on B side?
Well, as of right now, the bomb is still in B app, so it looks like NiP are more likely to just wanting to get one single frag before they do anything. But yeah, Dupree right now pushing far up in A apps here, and this is giving so much information to TSM just to kind of solidify the decision they've made.
Exist does manage to get Kerrigan down. It's going to be a good starter, as now they have to worry about the angles. They have to worry about people pushing in from short. Freiburg actually is going to go through underpass. Now Dupree is coming up behind them. Now going to see Exist backing in there. Zipnix will catch out Get Right. Zipnix holding steady, holding strong, but Alu will put pate to that one. Dupree gets around the back. Oh, he wasn't quite able to take down Freiburg as he hopped through the window. Device does, but now it's all on Dupree. Gets himself another tag down on towards Alu, but still can't finish the job. Just collects himself an AK, but Alu on point, manages to find himself the second of the round, and NiP 2-0.
Yeah, so TSM managed to slow down the tempo of NiP, but having, you know, pretty much no investment, barring a Deagle and a 5-7 here and there, no armor, and that makes it so hard when you get into those close situations like that for TSM to actually have any success. I still think it's a great eco for them, getting down 3 people from NiP.
Well, this could work out well for TSM. Look at this, they've triple stacked just around the corner in Dark Dark. Are they going to expect it? Get Right coming through with a P90. They haven't actually looked at that position. They feel that they already caught the man, but Forrest and Alu do manage to strike. KGB still unfound. They're going to drop down. Oh, of course they check their position. Alu gets himself 4 in the round, and they just decimate the little pistol there from TSM. But now we're on to rifle. This is the round TSM have to pick up. We see the AWP coming out from Kerrigan. Is he going to take it window?
I think he has to now. For TSM, it's going to be very important to keep mid control, especially if NiP decide to run as fast as they have so far in the game. So that's one of the ways to slow the T side down. And you can already tell the top mid smoke coming down, but NiP are putting more focus on towards the A bomb site right now.
Alu actually got himself into Palace. Dupree keeping him at bay, just heads himself a nade. Just took him down to 57. You see Carrigan there, just trying to get a little peek on connector. He actually went straight out of window, so quite aggressive. Forrest has managed to get on the top of mid though. While this is all happening, Get Right, you see, lurking in the smoke, just dropping through. As it just clears, he manages to catch up. Ziknius completely unawares. KGB does respond, but Carrigan almost drawn backwards, but they're making sure they don't over-rotate, and they realize that there is potential presence at A site.
Yeah, and right now, there's not a lot of nades for TSM for NiP to work with here. So getting onto A here, this is going to be really tough, especially with TSM having 3 people in the vicinity.
Oh, the timing. Carrigan just backed away from connector as Forrest took a peek. And now Forrest back to window as Carrigan peeks. Back and forward they go. Freiburg just lingering. There's going to be a smoke. Alu gets the flash out there. Freiburg's going to push on through. Dupree in dark. Device holding it. Double box. Forrest creeping his way up, but Carrigan's holding the angle. It's going to be a straight up duel. Oh, the timing. Carrigan just picked around, and that's going to give Forrest the advantage. He's pinned in the corner, but Device spins around. The crossfire as well, and TSM managed to cut them down. Beautiful little triangle setup they had there to cover all the angles.
Yeah, it was very well set up. It's still pretty scary for them though, because if Forrest manages to get a hold onto Carrigan in that situation, all of a sudden the triangle is kind of loose, and that allows for Exist to get out of apps, and all of a sudden that spells a ton of trouble for TSM. So even though they had a pretty much ideal setup to hold off NiP that round, that still could have gone horribly wrong. Carrigan actually going aggressive in mid here.
Well, Freiburg's got the Deagle that's challenging him, actually. Oh, that nade straight onto him. Takes him down to 47. Exists with the Tech 9's the man that's putting pressure over at B, but look at Get Right. He's going to get a boosty. He's going to launch up in towards Kitchen, but Carrigan's already backed himself right back. He's towards CT spawn. He's keeping it eye on the angle, so as soon as Get Right shows himself, he should get spotted out. Alu trying to rattle the shots through the smoke to find Device, but he's holding steady in connector, not giving himself a position. Oh, he got tagged up, 54. Manages to back away there, gets out alive though. But Get Right just around the corner, remember, he's going to come in, Tech 9 in hand. He gets quickly answered by Dupree, but it's going to loosen things up, and now Dupree's going to get pressured. They know that he's in dark, they're going to push around. Freiburg's going to be the man that tries to find him. He gets a quick spray down though, doesn't manage to connect. And now Carrigan in and around, post box will get himself one on Forrest. And now we're into a 2-on-2. Alu and Exist, both been landing their shots so far, but it's Zipnix that responds. Exist with the bomb plant down, caught in between a rock and a very hard place. Catches a glimpse on one, gets the spray down. He's down to 11, but Carrigan, he's only got the AWP in hand. He has to challenge it. Exist so close to landing him. Is he going left? Is he going right? Carrigan lands the shot. He will get the defuse. He has time without the kit. And that's an important second round. TSM get themselves another, but it costs them a lot of money.
It cost them dearly. Look at it is the AWP that they managed to hold on to in that round, so the most expensive weapon is still in their hands, but NiP getting that bomb plant, they could easily go for another force buy here.
See what they go for.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
AKs and Tech 9s is supposed to, that's going to be the recipe, and Galil on Alu as well. But this is obviously a big thing for NiP, because if they lose this one, they're most likely going to be back to ecoing, or they are going to be back to ecoing.
And they're going to push it fast when nade lands. Double nade landed on Exist and Alu there. That took them both down to 25. And that was Zipnix and KGB doing wonders. And now they were trying to go fast there, straight into B site, but that has stopped that attack dead in its tracks. And NiP forced to rethink their strategy this time around.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't, shifted who's got the weaponaries right now. I guess Tech 9 is still a pretty viable option, but if you could get an AK on Freiburg or Get Right for that matter, that could also do a lot, because you give them more of an opportunity with more HP here.
Forrest caught out by Carrigan. It's a long-range shot down connector, just a little peek. Carrigan should find Freiburg here. Second he comes around the corner. Exist is going to challenge it as well. Doesn't manage to get the tag this time around, but gets a quick leg down there. Exist will get picked off. Device through window, pops around. Doesn't quite get the second. Freiburg goes down. Get Right's got himself into B, and what in the hell? Spins around with a double headshot, and suddenly the bomb is planted in B site, and it's a 3-on-2 advantage for NiP and TSM. They're on the save.
They're giving up. Really, what can you say about that? That's just kind of vintage get right, isn't it? I mean, there's no real solid explanation as to how that is possible. It's just quick 180 drag and down all of TSM's B defense, go.
That's you can't counter that. That's like when a player suddenly starts hitting those shots, there is no counter to it. There was a double setup. They got the double nade down early. It was a brilliant little B setup. dupreeh will manage to pick up Freiburg on the exit there, but that was a forced round from NiP. That was fantastic. There was just Galil, AK, and Tech9s. That's all they had, and they managed to take down TSM. But Carrigan held onto the AWP, and that's important for them because they're kind of hurting for cash right now.
Yeah, and you could tell, you know, this is why NiP went for that force buy, because they knew how shaky the economy of TSM would be. So even though they save a couple of weapons, they don't really get that much out of it. And
that was someone getting dropped there. I just noticed. Didn't see what the actual error was, but nonetheless, he has been dropped out.
So, yeah. Something about VPK files missing.
Oh. Anyway, they're going to go restart, so ignore this round, because it is going to get stopped.
Yeah.
So, okay, 4-2 NiP. Let's just try and look at what we've already had so far.
Very up-tempo NiP, again. So similar style to what we've seen on Dust 2. And, well, it just seems like they're, you know, as cliche as it sounds, they're hitting their shots. I mean, you're not going to win a force buy round like that if Get Right doesn't get those 2 frags on the B-bomb side. That's just how easy it is. And right now, TSM are struggling simply because they haven't been able to get into a situation where their economy has been built up and they can actually afford to play their usual style.
And the thing is, we talked about this right at the start. They would be expecting this. They knew that NiP, based on what just happened on Dust 2, they knew they were going to come at them fast, hard and fast. And it's worked. Like from the pistol onwards, a perfect pistol round onwards, it has worked out well for them. I know I hate saying this because I've said it so many times, but how many rounds is good for T-side? You're going to say as many as they can get.
Yeah, as many as possible. But again, I think it's TSM's CT side here that is the stronger side.
Yeah.
For the most part. And I think NiP can be, you know, if they can get to 7 or 8 rounds.
Anything more than TSM, basically, they're laughing.
Yeah, are you? Absolutely. I mean, it's like, well, Moses kind of put it out yesterday as well. Like, if you get off to a really good start, like, you know, NiP are about to have, then if you start, you know, dropping rounds towards the end of the first half, then you might go into the second half feeling like, oh, we kind of lost that. Similar to what TSM did versus Fnatic. They were up 8-1 and 7-0, and then the first half ends up 9-6. So you're going to go into the second half feeling like, oh, we kind of dropped the ball on that one, even though it's a pretty decent half. So for NiP, it's all about finishing it off with a good feeling to your half. So sure, you could lose a couple of rounds here and there in the mid round, but if you close it out nicely, I think NiP should be in a great position.
Get right going past saluting. Won't tell you what Alu's doing. A couple of little hand signals going past, but
yeah,
we are going to have
tell they're at high spirits.
That actually, exactly. You know, TSM are all sat there. This is something, you know, if I think back to the Intel Extreme Masters in Gamescom, thinking back to TSM, how they were against Envious, you know, they have to be careful they don't get too down on themselves.
Yeah.
When, say, NiP do pick up, you know, a couple of wild rounds, I think it's safe to say that perhaps they shouldn't ordinarily get, you know, when they pull off some of those crazy plays, like Get Right with the double kill within a matter of seconds under Tech9, you know, they have to be careful that doesn't get too on them because they are one map down already.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned about, you know, first breaking off their, you know, breaking TSM's economy. That's also, you know, a strike towards the bow for TSM, which is going to, you know, potentially put a damper on basically just the group feeling there. And if NiP are able to get to 6 rounds, maybe, you know, make it 6-2, something to that effect, then who knows what TSM can do to respond to that? Because you can easily fall back into, you know, bad habits of old, and that's going to be, you know, the choke needers or, you know, the choke artists coming back to life. And that's something you don't want to see for TSM.
Just looking at I could see the banter in the chat.
Yeah.
The mighty NiP magic, so dangerous as Carrigan, absolutely. But they're just discussing in game.
Yeah, forced spin to Hogwarts.
Delivering some good stuff. But yeah, I mean, the players are obviously awaiting to get this problem fixed. It is on Exist's PC, and I can see dupreeh's also not in there. So
yeah, so the same guys.
It's the same guys that had the VAC authentication error earlier on. So
shady stuff.
Don't start that again. I can only imagine Twitch chat right now.
Oh, God.
We are in the beautiful city of Dubai. You can see in the background there has been some fantastic shots. It's very strange, I've got to be honest, as a commentator. I was talking to Moses the other day. It's like, this is one of the most strange places I've commentated from. You know, we've got these giant skyscrapers towering above us to behind us, actually, where we are. And obviously you've got this marina with $1 million boats to the left-hand side of it. It's a real peculiar situation for us. But
here we are playing Counter-Strike.
And here we are playing Counter-Strike in the middle of it all. Yeah, it's very, very different. But NiP, let's talk about them, because there has been a lot of rumors.
Oh, yeah.
And clearly there's something going on.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yes.
So obviously, don't know anything conclusive. The only guys who really know fully what's going on is the guys within NiP themselves. But if rumors are to be true, if the rumors said are to be true, then this might even be the last tournament we ever see NiP on.
Or certainly this guys of NiP.
Oh yeah, this lineup at least. I don't think NiP as a organization.
I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to move away from CS, but. It's pretty crazy to think about, especially when they're having this kind of a tournament like they are right now, and barring them going on some sort of a horrible losing streak versus TSM here now, they've just been showing the best play of them, I'd say easily 5 months.
Yeah.
From NiP. That's pretty crazy.
Since, I guess you think of it, it was the Azus Renegade, I think it was, back in January.
Oh, yeah, the OGs. Yeah,
that's the last tournament they won.
Yeah, and I guess they did do pretty well at Katowice as well.
They did do pretty well. They got to the final, so that's pretty good at most people's standards.
Yeah, that's an okay day at the office. But, really, they've just been playing lights out so far, and it's kind of sad to think that, sure, it's going to be fun to go out with a bang, but if you can play this well now, after all this hardship, could you just continue on for just a tiny bit more,
Could
please?
you just carry on? Yeah. Clearly something was right there. Dupree looks so happy.
Oh, that's not a happy camper. Well, obviously, if you're TSM in this situation, obviously, the problems are on both sides, both with Exist and Dupree, but it's definitely going to hit harder for the guys who are currently down a map and not getting off to a great start so far. And I think it's like you said, they can't allow themselves to get down on themselves. I mean, that's going to be horrible.
You could see in the chat, they were still having fun. TSM were like, we could always restart the map. We had such a great start after all. So they're just like, they're still having fun with themselves. While they do look a little glum right now, and you can't see big smiles.
They're normally a really happy bunch.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They were singing backstage when they were waiting to be introduced.
That was actually really fun.
It's Zipnix's birthday, isn't it? Still.
Is it still? Yeah.
I think it still is, yeah.
Yeah, it's either still or it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was 1 a.m. yesterday when we were
years
finished.
old.
That's when he was talking. I know. Trust me, that makes me feel really old.
But yeah, no, these guys are normally at high spirits. I mean, I remember, watching them during majors and like mid-round or, after a round finishes, they would be there, singing Danish folk songs and that type of stuff just to keep people happy. So they're a happy-go-lucky group of guys. And I'm not really sure what the holdup is anymore. I'm guessing that, they had to download some more files.
I think they probably had to change another PC over. I was told 5 minutes, and that's probably about 5 minutes ago. So
we're crossing our fingers that we're going to go back.
God only knows what is going on for them. But
yeah, but at least, if you want to look at the positives for TSM here in this situation, is the fact that they get a lot of time to talk things over with themselves. So you can see they're already talking, and they should be, obviously. But they don't have to use their tactical timeout. They still have that in the bag to pull out at a later stage if need be. And
I mean, for that, it actually kind of helps TSM because they're getting a chance to talk now, a long chance to talk. You'd assume about exactly what the problems have been. But let's look beyond this game. Let's look at the next semi-final that's going to be coming up. Of course, it is going to be Virtus.pro versus Fnatic. Arguably, Virtus.pro were probably the closest team to beating Fnatic, I think, in Cologne.
We're a total of 3 rounds away or something?
Yeah,
if I recall correctly.
Inferno, yeah. It was an incredibly close game. And if we look at their performances here so far, they were very strong.
Oh yeah, that Envy game on Cash?
Yeah.
Like, holy hell. I mean, they just played out of their minds. And when Virtus.pro get into that kind of mode, what we like to call, refer to as Virtus Plow, they're really hard to stop. And I think even Fnatic are going to have very big problems of defeating them. And I think it's almost a guarantee that it's going to go to 3 maps. I'd be pretty disappointed if it didn't.
Well, I certainly hope so. And I hope we're going to see this one go 3 maps as well. I can tell you Exist is back in the server. We're just waiting for Dupree to get in there, I believe. As soon as he's ready and waiting to go, we will get things started as soon as they do a little restore. Because the current score, it was at 4-2, remember?
Yeah.
As we see Machine, Anders, and Moses just walking past the camera. Give him a wave, guys, as he go past. Poor old Anders. He's still limping. He's still limping. He's almost ready to go. He's almost got himself back to full condition.
He's worrying it through. But, you know, yeah, back to, I guess, the state where the game found itself before the pause. And that was, as you said, 4-2 in favor of NiP. But the big thing is that TSM had just decided to force buy.
Yeah.
So they had, obviously, 2 guns saved from the previous round, and they managed to buy 1 more Colt. I'm very curious to see, you know, what's going to happen if they lose that. That's the more interesting part to me, because even if they win this round, they're still going to be in a pretty dire spot, economically speaking. But if they lose that, that could just be lights out for TSM.
They're just trying to figure out what the problem is. I can hear that basically it's because Dupree dropped. They can't restore the round with the same money, and that start money won't work. It's going to have to be
some manual configuration going on here.
Some sort of manual funkiness is going to have to happen between the admin.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get that sorted out. I can see they're just trying to sort it out. He did have weapon and armor because, as you said, they had force buy, and that's probably the biggest part of the issue there. We can see still what's going on between these guys. Of course, there's a good old chat. Everybody from NiP is now in and ready. We're just waiting for TSM, who always seem to have problems when I'm casting them. But yeah, it's an interesting setup, but I think rather than listen to us waffle on, we want to hear some other people waffle on.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over to Alex, Anders, and Moses.
Thanks very much, Lee. Yeah, we figured we'd waffle for a while as well, as you've so dubbed it. But I mean, there's a whole lot to waffle about. I'm sure Lee and Vendetta have most definitely touched the basics, but that's, of course, just from Vendetta and his thoughts on that one. 2 extra CSGO brains to pick as the audience is... They can't hear us.
Oh, there's no audio.
Hey, oh my God, a sea of thumbs as I managed to acknowledge that. So hopefully they can hear us. Hello, everyone. Good to have you here. Lots of waves in the crowd. As let's just hear what you guys have to say about this one so far. We didn't get a chance to really talk and speculate about what to expect on Mirage, so we can kind of start from there. Of course, you have a little bit of extra info, considering we've seen the first 6 rounds.
I mean, I feel like my prediction of NiP winning 2-0 is looking pretty good right now.
That prediction, eh?
I'm trying to reverse engineer the past here a bit.
Well, I've learned not to predict 0%, so I'll just say that TSM's going to 100% win this map.
TSM is. I like that. I see what you did there. You're playing the numbers. I like that.
No, but what was it? It was 2 Fragbite Masters ago when these guys played in or not these guys, but Fnatic and TSM played in a best of 5, and it was that situation where Fnatic was like virtually unbeatable on Cobble, and TSM upset them there, and then TSM was virtually unbeatable on Mirage, and Fnatic upset them there. So, I mean, TSM, this is, you mentioned it right before this map even started, this is one of their better ones. They're very strong on it.
They've got so much going on this map, I feel like. I mean, especially Carrigan, if he gets that AWP up and running, there's so much they can use him for. It should be one of their strong maps, definitely. And I think we looked at the stats on HLTV.org and looked at, you know, the last 5 or 6 games between TSM and NiP, and it's been like, I think once NiP has been in double digits, and every other time they've had less than 10 rounds. So, you know, just look at the history between these 2 teams. It should be TSM just crushing them, but I mean, there's been a lot of discussion going on Twitter. I noticed that Devil was talking about it. You know, Heaton being back on the team as a coach now. I don't think anyone's going to claim that Heaton somehow would be better tactically than, say, Natu as a coach. But as a sort of, you know, someone who's bringing a lot of hype into the team, making sure everyone stays positive and has fun, Heaton can actually do that, even though it sounds like a really silly point to bring up. It probably isn't. I mean, Moses, you can talk better about this. Like, what does it mean to have fun when you're playing this game? Does it make you better, or is it just, you know...
Yeah, I mean, not even necessarily. Yeah, I mean, it makes you happy, fun. If you ever go into a game and you're in a bad mood, you're going to play worse. You're going to be easily frustrated by little things. But I mean, these guys are looking up for the first time in tournaments. We've seen them looking up between rounds and smiling at each other and laughing. And I think they've spent so long trying to fix these issues and trying to, you know, find what's wrong.
Yeah.
And like just thinking about it, they've gotten so frustrated. And now they're just like, we don't even care anymore. Like we can't. Let's just go play. I mean, Get Right even said it. What did he say when he was up there talking to Sean? Sean's like, how did you guys prepare? And he's like, well, we're going to have fun. And then that was
exactly,
it.
Yeah,
that was his entire game plan was we're going to have fun.
Did you say they were looking for love in all the wrong places? Did you go that far? No?
I really want one of those, what are they called? I'm thinking Western, I'm thinking Tumbleweed. Good slow brain. The cogs turned, and I got there. A little tumbleweed to roll across the desk after
We
that
should
one.
have those props.
Natu does a great
I had a
cricket
really good
impression.
point to make. What was
he
it?
did it at Pro League.
He could do a cricket impression?
Yeah.
I did not know he had those
I
skills.
don't think
he
that's
has-
something any
he's
of
got
us are
those skills.
capable of, so I'm not even going to attempt a cricket impression.
Can we say this though? Now, just because TSM are starting on the CT side here,
Sure.
and they generally play worse on the CT side these days. I think the terror side is going to be a lot better. And if we sort of roll with this idea that NiP are playing without pressure and are just sort of roaming around doing what they do and using their individual skill, that's generally harder to do on the CT side. On the CT side, you need coordination and you kind of are forced to slow things down a bit, and that's where it gets harder to play the style that NiP is playing. So, yeah, I think we could still see a switch between first and second half here.
I think kind of just swerving back to away from CT&T into the mindset point, just because I think there's a lot to be explored there. It's always something. I feel like we mention it time and time again with any team. We say Fnatic has mental fortitude because they're not easily swayed by early losses. You look at NiP, you say that they're we're trying to change everything. They will hit a bit of a brick wall, and maybe they've overcome that by forgetting about the wall, like just kind of turning away and going the other way. Is part of that because these guys have basically just shrugged their shoulders and said, like, every single time that we've tried to change something, they've gone into a tournament like, this is the one. We've made the change. We've made the correct decision. This is going to completely revolutionize our game. We're going to get back to old NiP, and then it just doesn't work, and they keep finding that, keep hitting that. Now there's no wall.
That was one of the things that Natu really talked about when he was coaching, was always, he felt like because they'd had so much success early on and then people had caught up with them, that they almost had to like relearn how to play the game because they were so dominant for so long. And I think a lot of that probably was a mental issue, and that it comes right back down to the fact that these guys are just playing and having fun, and that really helps alleviate all the pressure that you have on you.
I mean, not to do too much speculation either, but there is another team that ended up playing like this sort of right before they exploded, and that was Envy. When they played at ESWC in Montreal, they played against Cloud9 on Cobblestone and rushed 15 rounds in a row on the T side of Cobble. And it almost worked. They almost beat Cloud9 on that, even though Cloud9 obviously knew it was going to happen. Like after the first 7 rushes, you realize they're going to rush again. And I think maybe once or twice they switched it up and rushed A instead. But generally it was just, it's essentially free for all, just going at it. And it works because you've got super talented players, and also because it's so hard to play against a team that really doesn't care. Every top team has been against the third tier team that suddenly shows up and don't worry about anything.
It's like that cornered animal thing where they just get so aggressive when you corner the animal. But bringing it right back to Mirage as well, NiP, when they transition to the CT side, they're obviously going to need to get a few more rounds to give themselves some room to work with on that defensive half. And they've been relying heavily on double op setups throughout this entire tournament. Forrest and Alu have pretty much been using AWP not only at the same time, but interchangeably, rotating where it's at. So that's going to be interesting. That's an very expensive setup for them to run. So they're going to need to have some space to work with in case they need to get their economy stabilized.
I mean, double AWP on Mirage, that's more of a common occurrence than not, I think it's safe to say. But, I mean, with NiP on the T side as well, surely when they're just kind of going this, as you described it, free-for-all, that's when kind of TSM have to do something different themselves, because you can't expect a standard game of Mirage at this stage, at this stage of NiP's development.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Playing free like that, like see that round with Get Right with the Tech 9 and B where he just spins around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that once these guys are playing loose like this, that's why these guys have been considered the best at the top of Counter-Strike for so long, is because those are the plays that they've always made. And now that they're back to making them, we haven't seen them for so long, and now that they're getting back there, it's like, oh crap, what have we gotten ourselves into?
Yeah, it's really, really hard to deal with, and I think TSM are also, I mean, actually this kind of pause, maybe it's going to give them a little bit of a chance to sort of mentally catch up and say, all right, now we know that they're doing it. Can we actually try and do something to stop it? But it's definitely not easy. 2 AWPs, though, is not a bad idea, because that B bomb site is so easily covered by one person with an AWP, and the middle is as well. And then you've got a lot more focus on A, which is good news.
I mean, yeah, it's something that I was talking to Lauren just outside, and she was kind of saying that something that she's hoping to see more of from NiP is this kind of pushing before your smokes on A. Something we've kind of started to see a little bit maybe from Dignitas and stuff like that, where they start the execute and they're already on the site before that execute, the initial execute kind of smokes have laid out. Is that something that you can see NiP maybe trying to throw into the mix?
Yeah, if you're going to fall into those standard executes at the A bomb site, the one thing with those executes, you see all the smoke streaming over. You can count how many are coming over. You know as a counter-terrorist how many terrorists are there. And in case, usually there's a split, at least one guy coming up mid, but you'll know know if you see 4 smokes, there's 4 coming from here and 1 more than likely in middle. So yeah, there is that execute where you have only 2 or 3 people throw smokes and 2 people run up with them. So by the time they have the intel, you might even be able to catch one with a nade out in their hands. So that could be something they switch to. But this defense from TSM up 6-2 right now, I mean, it's looking strong.
It is. I mean, and I think especially just considering again that TSM, I think, are going to get a lot of rounds on the T side as well. This isn't too bad. I think I'd almost be willing to say even if NiP win every round from here on out, I still count it fairly competitive for TSM. The pissed round is going to matter a lot more, but I would say there's a good chance here. Inferno is the deciding map, and I mean, in high-pressure situations, or historically speaking, NiP have a sort of a freaky talent of playing Inferno when it really counts, it seems like. I remember when they actually won the major at Gamescom last year, they beat Fnatic on Inferno. I would have thought there was no way that was going to happen. Fnatic looked indestructible on that map, but NiP didn't look that good on it. So, if it goes on that map, it could be very interesting.
So you're calling the third. You think that despite NiP looking very comfortable at the moment on T side of Mirage, we have to, of course, just see the TSM boys make a decision to force in, as Vendetta highlighted just before the end of that. So, yeah. I mean, you can see NiP running with this T side and still TSM kind of standing at the gates on their T side. Is that the same case for you, Moses, or are you seeing something different?
No, I see TSM taking this, and then I think, yeah, it's going to go to that third map. I think NiP's, I mean, the winning Dust 2 is massive, obviously. We covered that. That was huge for them to be
0%. Yeah, we don't have to remind you too much.
Why did I go right back to that? What have I done to myself? But no, but I mean, that's huge for them. Another rookie mistake is two in like 1 hour.
40 frags from Get Right didn't quite happen either.
It's been a long day, boys.
It's cool. It's cool.
But no, I mean, coming to Inferno, you're right. There is always. Hey, they did just beat Envy on Inferno earlier today. I mean, looked at there.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is really hard to explain, isn't it? Envy are a super hard team to play on that map. I mean, if NiP can sort of, steal Envy's energy now that they've put them out of the tournament, if they can take that and sort of... The problem is, playing this loose, aggressive style is much easier on Dust 2 and Mirage than it is on Inferno, because Inferno is like close quarters, you get really close to people, it's tight, one Molotov, one smoke, and your whole aggressive push is going to come to a complete halt. For most teams, except, Envy keep doing it anyway, they sort of make it work, and if NiP can do the same, I mean, it shows you there's room for it. It's just very hard to master. And Envy make it look like it's so easy, but it's really not. In most teams, if you're trying for those kind of fast pushes and aggressive pushes, you're going to run into so much trouble. It'll be very hard to sustain that kind of push. So,
well, especially because, I mean, Envy does it with Tech9s. They do it with those force buys. So, I mean, that's the crazy part. So, yeah. And that's going, I mean, NiP on that map. We've seen them struggle at the major against Virtus Pro. They just got washed on that map. And even earlier today, even with the map that they won against Envy on their T side, we saw shades of that, where they just kind of get stuck behind those smokes. They don't want to go through them, and the clock runs down and start running out of time.
I mean, I also feel like there's a bit, sort of an interesting opportunity here for us to learn a little bit about TSM and how far they've come as like a core group. There used to be this whole stigma around them, as Vendetta was also saying about them, choking in the semis and all that stuff. That was, they sort of moved on from that, and now they've been doing a lot better. But how far have they moved? I think we're going to get a chance to sort of measure how far they've moved since they were doing that. And that's interesting. It's not often we get those chances, so.
So you guys are expecting it for us to see a third. You guys have got your eyes set on Inferno. Of course, Mirage still has to play out, and I mean, Moses didn't quite call Dust 2. Maybe you could be wrong again. Maybe we could see TSM fall flat in the semis 2-0 to NiP. Not
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Wouldn't that be insane? I mean, we've had crazier things have happened in the world, and crazier things have happened in Dubai. Of course, made possible by our sponsors, Dubai Tourism, ENG, and Sennheiser. It's time for us, though, to jump back into the action with your casting team. D-Man and Vendetta are waiting to dig their teeth back into Mirage.
Thank you very much, guys. So it looks like we are about ready to go. Everything has been restored. Everybody is back in server. Everybody has the right money, the right weapons. And it seems everybody is in good spirits in the teams, because there's a right load of banter going on between the two.
Yeah.
Sadly, we can't show it you just yet, but it will be on the screen soon. I dread to think what might actually be on there. But we are having an unpause. We are getting ready to go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is the semi-finals in Dubai. It is TSM currently with 2 rounds, NiP with 4, and NiP are 1 map up. Yes, that is correct. They absolutely destroyed on Dust 2. Not too sure what's showing on that screen. Hopefully they'll sort out what we can see on the other screen. There we go! And we are live. Straight away, what do we see?
Oh, aggression right away from NiP, straight into B here.
Gonna come straight around there. Freiburg drops down there. Zimnix will find him. Carrigan quickly as well. Zimnix just off in short. He's gonna catch out around the side. KGP as well. And maybe the pace of NiP has been deadened by that break. Exist still with the bomb though, and Get Right is still alive, but it's a 2-on-5, and that is a very tricky situation. Dupree is going on a massive roundabout, and he's actually going to find Exist as he comes around the corner. I think Exist, did he see him? Did he catch him? Doesn't matter because they both find each other at the same time. And TSM did pick up the round, and that was a big round for them. Pause from Forest. Damn you.
No, it was definitely a big round, and what we really didn't have time to talk about before, you know, NiP just set goal for B was the fact that given how heavily that forced by, or how heavy that investment from TSM was with limited money, that would mean that they didn't have too many needs to work with, right? So I would have liked to see that being one of the few rounds where NiP kind of slow it down and just basically bait out as many needs from TSM as possible, but that didn't quite happen.
TSM going to continue singing while Freiburg sorts out his mouse, or Forest, I think it was actually his mouse that was possibly sorted out. But there we go, he's back in it, he's unpaused it. Let's get back into the game. So 4-3 the score, and well, as we just pointed out, NiP's speed this time was finally counted. So obviously TSM had a good long time to talk about it, and we're seeing a scout coming out from Device. Carrigan with that orb. Carrigan's actually going to be taking the orb to short, but we can see on the minimap that NiP is set up for A.
Yeah, standard EX coming up, and already we're seeing Forest come out before the smoke's off, so exactly what they talked about at the desk.
But the Device manages to land the second shot on towards him, hops up and down, does manage to get a little tag through there, doesn't quite catch out, but catches a glimpse. It's Alu that's on Tetris, and you can see the hopping going on. Exist quickly caught out. They're still yet to really get a big tag onto Device. He keeps on hopping in around here, but a stop has been called, apparently. There is problems, so we are going to get a round restart. That is Forest, I believe, that's had the problems. His USB mouse has stopped working, so we're going to get a restore. Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely need your mouse to be working.
It's Freiburg that's got the problems. Okay, thank you.
Is it Freiburg? Okay.
Thank you, yes. I just saw get told there by YNK, our observer for this game, making sure we're informed by everything.
Yeah. Now, obviously, important to have your mouse if you're going to play CS. It's one of the few essentials you need, pretty much. And it's, yeah.
They basically say Forrest ran out and got killed. He's like, yeah, his reactions aren't too strong. We did actually say his mouse wasn't working, but Forrest still kept on running up ramp.
Well, I mean, Forrest is getting up in the years, so you can't fault him for that.
That is very true. That is very true. But it looks like it's getting sorted out. You can see the admins all pouring away at the PC, so they'll get it fixed one way or another. Seems problematic, but sooner or later, this semi-final will take place. And let's not forget, Fnatic versus Virtus.pro is going to follow this one. It will be a late night here in Dubai.
Yeah, luckily it doesn't get too cold.
No, it's
actually now it's really nice outside.
It's really nice, actually, right now, yeah. We do have two giant air conditioning units pointing straight at us, though.
That's true, that's true.
That's a little unfair.
But so do the players.
They do,
yeah.
They do. Everybody else there. It's a relaxing time here. You can see them all. Everyone in the crowd waiting for this game to get underway, just as we are. Oh God, when lights start going like that, I feel like I'm at a rock concert or something. What's going on? Everybody at the phone. You notice actually that at the front there, like normally the stage manager has to come down and get the guys to cheer, but actually here, we kind of have our own cheerleaders at the front. I've noticed this throughout the event. People down the front getting the crowds going, but...
It's an active crowd for sure. It's really nice to see. So I don't know what to make of this really. NiP obviously wanted to set up for an A split here. Or an A push here. I don't think they're going to go back to that necessarily once we get back to it.
Will they?
Oh, the mind games. Yeah, that would be something. But, you know, it's kind of cool to see, you know, whether or not it was, you know, Forrest being old and not reacting in time, or whether or not it was planned from NiP. We definitely saw what they touched on. You know, something that Dignitas, for instance, have been using for a lot of their executes, having one guy pretty much rushing up with the nades being thrown out, because whenever you see these kind of nades come in for the most cookie cutter, you know, execute you can think of on certain maps, you automatically as a CT start pulling up your own nades because you want to anti-flash, you want to throw nades or a Molotov here and there to delay whatever is coming up. If you get caught out in a situation like that, you can just instantly lose the bomb site.
I just noticed Forrest is actually sat in the middle, which is where normally the in-game leaders sat.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something. Oh. Get everybody onto that one now. See if they can figure that out. Or whether
Start the conspiracy threads right now.
Maybe the leader switched across quickly. Forest is in the lead. I don't know. Forest has had a fantastic tournament, by the way.
He really has.
He has played brilliantly.
And weirdly enough, you know, obviously we've known that Forest can pretty much pick up any weapon and do damage with it, but it's been the AWP for him, not the rifle necessarily, which is kind of what we're used to seeing from Forest, but the AWP that's really made an impact for him. And Alu, you know, as the desk pointed out, he's been coming on strong in the later stages as well. So that double AWP setup for NiP has just been working wonders. That's really fun to see because I think a lot of people have, you know, obviously it's the internet, everyone has an opinion, but, you know, a lot of people have been down on Alu because they've expected to see the same guy dropping 30 frags from Miles Sports or 3D Max do the same in NiP. And he hasn't necessarily had the same kind of impact for NiP in that regard, but so, you know, so people wanted to see Forest AWP more because he's shown from time to time that he can do that. And now they figured out a good way for both of them to get, you know, their hands on that sniper and do work with it. So that's really cool to see, and that's a good sign for NiP as well.
I want to see Freiburg doing that little aim test, that little aim map,
Yeah.
just as a warm-up for his new mouse, and check everything's okay. It's always fun to watch these pros doing that, but as it is, they're just trying to sort themselves off. There is the skyscrapers towering above us here. I wonder how much it costs to live in one of those apartments facing out against the ocean. Probably quite a lot of money, I think.
I don't think you can do that on an eSports salary.
I don't think my salary would take it. I have heard guesstimates about how much they are, and actually people telling me, and definitely not on an eSports salary, that's for sure. They cost a lot of money up there.
They're nice to look at, though. We can always look.
We can look, but not touch.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we have to deal with. But no, I mean, the location here is pretty fantastic. I mean, I'm still kind of in awe of how amazing everything looks around here. And like I said it several times, whenever I walked past here from the desk, come over to the commentator desk, I was like, that backdrop.
I know, but that's the thing. I mean, they can't. When we go live at 7 o'clock, you can't really make it out. But when we're in rehearsals, you can see that behind the analyst desk, there is these giant yachts. You can't make them out now because it is too dark, but they're out there. But when we're doing rehearsals, there's just these giant yachts in the backdrop.
You know, we should get Graham to just stand outside there with like a flashlight or something, just to see, so we can see the contours of the boats at least.
Graham does a lot of things right now. I'm hoping he's trying to fix the server and fix a few things. I did see a picture of him with a drill in his hand that TSM took earlier on, so I dread to think what he was doing there.
Well, apparently he confiscated that from Debris and Device, which were just drilling holes into random stuff. So.
Okay.
So he's kind of, you know, working part-time, you know, admin, part-time security guard.
Well, I mean, sometimes the admins do have to be kind of babysitters.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest.
That is very true.
You could argue it's the coach's role as well, but yeah, we're just waiting for the game to get underway here. Not exactly sure. It was previously Freiburg's mouse. I can see it's lit up, so he's...
Seems like we're unpaused as well, so back in the game we go.
Yeah, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen, back underway. This semi-final. Let's see if NiP do something similar. Whether they have any problems. No, it's going to be a much slower approach this time. Alu and Forest going to try and challenge out top of mid.
Yeah, and TSM on their end, they do pretty much the same thing, having Kerrigan push aggressively with that AWP on catwalk. He's not going to find anything just yet, though, because NiP have smoked it off. So far, no action. Yeah,
the Kerrigan's got to be careful there, as his device. They're going to try and go for the boost device, though. Look at him. He's just hiding in the corner. The smoke clears, and it's Exist that comes out on top. That's an AWP. Going to go across towards him if he wants to use it. And instead, they are going to try and get a little sneaky peek. 4 of them stacking up connector there. It's Get Right that gets found out, but they're going to keep on challenging. Cajun B's going to come around the corner in Toll Booth, just try and challenge out. Dupree down in dark. He tries to rattle off the shots. It's a good flash that comes out, but it's Dupree that will go down to Forest. And now Cajun B with Zipnix in support, and Carrigan coming around, but it's NiP that have control of A site. Cajun B finds one, but Freiburg quickly responds. Carrigan booms out the AWP and manages to find on Freiburg. Now we're into a 2-on-2, and Alu still with a bomb in hand, yet to get it down. Carrigan is not missing right now. Alu's going to try and challenge out, and Carrigan finds a third. Fantastic stuff from him, from jungle.
And he's been stepping up big as well. You remember that 1v1 situation versus Alu as well, so he's definitely feeling it right now, and that's what we've seen from TSM, you know, especially on the CT side. Once Kerrigan gets that off, he's allowed to play around that middle area and just kind of roam around and do his own thing. He's really effective.
Well, it is going to be a pistol for NiP. 4-4, all square. This is what we were starting to expect from TSM, and I just wonder if all these pulls, all these breaks have actually worked in TSM's favor, giving them time to get together. NiP maybe gone a little bit more serious, the fact that it's like, whoa, hang on a minute, we've just won that one with ease, and now we're suddenly starting to roll a little bit over TSM. And maybe the confidence, the air of arrogance that perhaps was around them has just maybe dissipated a little bit there. It will be a straightforward round for TSM as they pick themselves up their 5th round of the half.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, TSM actually opted to not pick up the op for Kerrigan there at the end, so that's a bit more money. So, you know, that makes that 1 kill that GetRight gets actually a lot more valuable than you would have imagined. But, you know, TSM winning quite a few rounds in a row now, still have the money to get that up on Kerrigan.
Oh, is this really going to be a fast A?
This is going to be really fast as well.
No, I think they've slowed. No, they are going. They're going. It's 1:33. Kerrigan, though, is going to try and get right down. Will manage to catch on to him. Smokes and counter flashes all going around. But TSM, they're going to get challenged out. Dupree once again still in dark, but Device and Kerrigan have been found. Dupree going to get stacked up on it. Forrest has managed to land the shots. And now we're down to a 2-on-2. Zipnix and Cajun B with Exist planting the bomb down, but Alu, the defender, has been caught out, and they don't know exactly where he is. He has to challenge one of these, and he has to land the shots. He gets Zipnix down. KGB from the side, but now it's a real tricky retake. They know where he is, but Exist surely with the advantage here. The bomb is ticking. Cajun B has to make a play, and Exist simply delays, throws out the smoke. That could cause him serious problems. Is it going to be a fake? Is Exist going to fall for it? Oh, the shot's rattling through. He's down to 1 hit point. Tries to get a peek across there. The shot's spraying through. Exist peeks. It's a jumping pistol. And Cajun B gets taken down. NiP get themselves the 5th round of the game.
Wow. Very well played by Exist, showing once again, you know, ice in his veins. But for me, the hero of that round was Forrest. Somehow ending up with 3 frags there while taking over the side, pretty much doing it single-handedly. Kind of using a couple of teammates as decoys, but, you know, that's okay when you get 3 frags.
Oh, Kerrigan, beautiful shot straight away. Quick one on towards Exist, and it had to be. Then Dupree tries to rattle some shots down, but he doesn't manage to get a kill. But he got a big slice of Alu and Forrest as they pushed around the top of mid. Cajun B gonna get a little creep around. He knows that Freiburg was trying to push his position, and it's NiP that is just gonna hold the top of mid while TSM look to try and collect things. Device is going looking, so he's on the massive information gathering mission, and if he keeps on going, he may actually find Alu, who's rotating around, just covering off T-spawn.
Yeah, I think Device might have had a hunch that NiP are pretty much nowhere to be found in this area because he managed to kill GetRight in AAPS, and that's usually a sign that NiP are finding themselves on the opposite side of the map. Device not risking it though, playing it actually pretty passively, so TSM are not getting that much information out of it, but if NiP are not too careful, they're going to make a lot of sound cues that Device can play off of.
He hears them coming. He backs around. Is he just going to use the post? Yes, he is. It's going to be a sneaky peek. Alu's going to be the man that comes around. Zipnix finds one. Device gets the second, and suddenly Freiburg in no man's land all the way back at T-spawn with next to nothing to play for. It was trying to be a sneaky fake, but it just backfired on them horribly. And Zipnix and TSM read the situation very well. Looking to be a 6-5 start here. Freiburg, good spray straight away on Zipnix as he passed on by. I don't think that smoke's going to fool him. He's going to flash himself in. Comes around, sprays into the corner, gets himself another possibly. Gets a little tag down on Dupree, but Cajun B just around the corner, sorry. He's going to run headlong straight back into Device. Oh, and it's going to be after the time as well. And Freiburg will go down. That's going to hurt NiP, and they're going to be pretty broke on this round.
Yeah, it's that typical win one, lose one right after type of situation for NiP. And I actually think, you know, even though as, you know, against all of your instincts it feels, it's probably better for Freiburg just to pull up his knife and suicide into Cajun at that point.
Just to make sure he goes down, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a quick rushing play, but it's going to be Dupree and Device that will get challenged here. Or a little peek may well have given the game up. Dupree gets a glimpse on that nade, going to go straight on towards GetRight. Didn't do too much damage though, just bounced off the side there, but they're going to keep on pushing through. Device yet to be flashed up, expecting someone to come out there. Has yet to pop around, finds himself one, gets the spray down on the second, and it is just carnage for TSM, completely annihilating NiP. It's going to be 7-5. And this is exactly what they wanted after that break. They were 4-2 down until those errors occurred. And now they find themselves 7-5 up. This is the CT side that TSM expected.
Yeah, this is way more like it. And right there, as you said, the jig kind of got caught out for NiP as soon as 2 people get spotted in the pit there, right there. So TSM make a fast rotation, have 4 people on the bomb site by the time NiP start executing. So pretty easy hold. And that was a force back from NiP as well, so they're back to eco here.
Alu and Freiburg going to push on through. Oh, good dink straight away onto Device. That's going to be a rifle in their hands. If Cajun B doesn't catch them first, he does manage to rescue that M4 and back away. So now, what will they do? Because really there was not a lot of damage done to them.
Yeah, and I don't think Device managed to see the bomb either. He only saw Freiburg in that situation, so they have no idea the bomb is still in AAPS.
Exist is making a lot of noise. Oh, another dink straight onto Cajun B. He's going to back away. That grenade should finish the job, but it doesn't catch on towards them. And these pistols are doing some serious work here. Now Alu's going to get a peek around there. Got himself one, but not the second on Dupree. But that is A side fairly open. Dupree, the Soul Man there. Zipnix is going to come through and creep on in, but Dupree is holding them off, and that's all they need right now. There is no armor, remember, but Get Right gets himself an M4. Bomb Plant's going to get caught out here. Freiburg just get exposed by Zipnix, but Get Right gets another response. And suddenly it's a 2-on-1. How is this happening? NiP, they were on a full save here. Carrigan's going to creep around. They're just waiting, but oh, Get Right caught out in the open. That's going to be a pistol gun down from Carrigan. And now Forrest, all alone. With no rifle in hand. There's plenty surely to be collected for him. He's just got to find a weapon.
Time's starting to run out, though, and Kerrigan knows this. I'm actually surprised that Kerrigan has taken this of an offensive position, but it's probably, yeah. Having no idea where Forrest is, he's expecting a backstab, so, you know, with that train of thought, it's probably, yeah, it makes sense for him to go in towards the side there instead of potentially getting backstabbed. That was very close.
Yeah, taking them down to one man in an eco. Yeah. TSM's economy, you know, we talked about that AWP that wasn't picked up, had to be rebought. It's just another one that was obviously picked up. This time Carrigan did collect it, but Cajun B's got himself an AWP this time. And it is going to be the top of mid. Dupree kind of caught in no man's land. He might actually push through and catch them, but Alu will strike first. Now, one man down. How will that affect them? Forrest has gone fairly aggressive over here on B. TSM forced to back away. Forrest has actually made enough noise and caused Zipnix to panic a little that Carrigan has gone for the rotate.
This is a big rotation as well, but as I say that, Zipnix managed to find Forrest.
Alu going to come around. It's Carrigan that he finds. AWP on AWP action. And now B site surely will be the focus. Exist, I think, is going to run the bomb through underpass, through around the side there, but Zipnix at Van is on 20 health. Freiburg trying to find his position. Cajun B and Device still holding angles.
Still have a nade.
And wow, they do still have a nade. Straight on the box. Cajun B in kitchen. Remember, we bought this AWP this round. This is going to be very costly for TSM. They went down to one man. They completely had to rebuy. And if they were to lose this round, financially, they would be in a little bit of trouble. And that's going to be great for NiP fans, but Exist does get taken down by Cajun B. 2-on-2. Device pushes on through, leaps through the window. Freiburg caught a glimpse of him, but he's not really got the rifle for this close range action. But it doesn't matter when they have the crossfire set up, and NiP make it 8-6.
Yeah, no, very solidly done by NiP there. Very calmly played as well, especially after the situation where Zipnix manages to find Forrest. They get the pick with Alu on short there, and they don't rush it. They don't rush into Zipnix. They take their time. Freiburg waits till his teammates are closer, so they could potentially trade if he gets caught out while throwing that nade. So NiP are, well, not playing, you know, carelessly. They're, it seems like they're, you know, starting to evaluate the situations more and more.
They're starting to play a little more cautiously. It's like they're starting to actually consider options rather than rushing into them. Of course, that was all opened up by the fact that it was an aggressive, I think it was Dupree that went up the ramp early on, but Alu finding himself another one. A 5-on-3 situation already. Device going aggressive with that P90. He's got himself around T-Spawn. Now that's going to trigger NiP to push on through, but Cajun B with a quick CZ75 on towards Freiburg makes it a 3-on-3, and they got to worry. They know that Device is coming around the back of them, so they have to either speed up or push on towards one of the sites, or maybe just cover off their backside. Get Right's going to go peeking, but Alu gets himself another. And TSM find themselves locked down a B site. Cajun B going very aggressive. He may fade the planter here. Exist is going to get it down, but Alu strikes again. He is absolutely rocking this round. Gets himself 4. And it was the Alu show to end the round half. 8-7. That is a good T-side score from NiP. TSM going to be looking at this pistol eagerly.
Yeah, that was those two last rounds from Alu pretty much set NiP up for victory right there. So they do manage to get a really good first half score for NiP. And well, you know, we talked about the previous 5 matchups that TSM had versus NiP. Obviously, they'd won them all, so they feel good about that. But the one map where NiP got into double figures, that was Mirage. So maybe that's, you know, there's something in the air right now. NiP are definitely playing way better than what we've seen them do in a long, long time. So I'm excited to see how the second half is going to play out. I think, you know, TSM haven't had much luck during pistols so far in this game. And I think if that trend continues going into the second half, NiP are in a great position to just close TSM out 2-0.
Yeah, if they can get their economy going on the CT side, it can be a real tester, certainly. TSM well aware of that one. One map down. Pressure very much onto TSM. Not something any of the analysts were expecting. I don't think really anyone was probably expecting, judging by NiP's performances over the last 6 months.
No one in their right mind would have expected this. That's really just how simple it is. And I guess one of the big question marks for NiP going into the CT side is what the desk touched on as well. We've seen the double op being extremely effective and a pretty big part of how NiP play their CT halves. If they're ever going to get to a position in this game or in this half where they can have the economy to do so. Because obviously it's a big gamble to go in up for the first buy round. You pick up two ops, and you instantly lose. That sets you back with probably a double eco at that point. So that's not a situation you want to be in. You don't want to give TSM a pretty big lead when they're already on, you know, a side that they can do very well on.
Well, something you mentioned, you know, at what point does suddenly the realization kick in over this fast and loose play?
That we're actually about to do it.
It's like, hang on a minute, we might be in the final if we win this half. Suddenly, where did we assume it would happen for the semifinals?
For this game, exactly. We thought, you know, they're playing TSM. They know that they're going up against a big opponent, and they blew everyone out of the water with their previous games. So surely now they have to realize that they're in a situation where people expect them to do well, and that's going to, you know, make them play worse, weirdly enough. But, you know, if the first map has shown us anything, or the start to this game has shown us anything, it doesn't seem like it has for NiP yet. So, you know, barring massive delays or that type of thing, you know, knock on wood, I don't think NiP are going to be too worried about it.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Second half underway on the second map. NiP leading 1-0, and it is 8-7. NiP had themselves the perfect pistol in the T side. Can TSM match that? There's a grenade going out. That's going to catch on, but Dupree will do the damage, and he takes down Forest. And it was very much a mid-control push, something I don't think NiP were ready for. Karrigan and Device doing work in A site, very much overrun by TSM. Get Right and Exist, the last two standing for NiP. Very much locked out of sight here, just hoping they can collect something on the way. But Zipnix catches Get Right snapping, but catches and spins around. Get Right, I don't know how he managed to react to that one, but nonetheless, it will be TSM's T-side start. That is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, and a very convincing pistol at that. And, well, they're not actually going to do, you know, what we typically see on a lot of maps, which is basically buy up with SMGs to get that.
And that's actually a very TSM thing to do as well. They normally stack out those MAC-10s.
And I think this is actually the right decision to make. Rather than, you know, hoping to, you know, build up an economy, just safe it. Yeah.
That's a misread, is what it is. It's a hope, a stack, and unfortunately for them,
it's not going to pay off, most likely. You can see TSM were setting up for an A execute, so unless they do the sickest fake in history.
But look at this, because they've delayed, NiP had a good look, and it's like, okay, there's nothing here. They're actually going to be back around in position, almost. 3 members there, but of course it is just pistols. Get Right with the scout, still hanging around. Forrest does manage to find himself one. Zipnix will reply, and Dupree also, but that's a good tag from Exist there. Not being able to close it out, though. Took Zipnix down to 13 health. But it's just Alu and Get Right. Get Right with this scout. Oh, not able to land it on towards Zipnix there. Gets the second chance, but immediately will get caught out. Alu with a quick reply. 2-1. Dupree is doable, but he's all over in Palace. And Alu, I think he's going to try and get around and pick up that scout and then get back away.
Exactly. And I'm actually kind of surprised because, first off, when you have a scout in a force buy, it's typical to leave him alone towards the B-bomb side because he can do so much damage. And to basically hold the T side off for such a long time that it allows for rotation. So I would have, you know, expected to see a stack towards the A bomb site. And the other thing that surprised me was the fact that NiP, after realizing, well, we've stacked B, nobody's coming, that they actually decided to actively try to defend it.
Yeah.
That was really surprising to me because I could have easily seen a scenario where they just decide like, okay, we've lost it. Let's just stay on B, set up for potential executes, exit frags if TSM come hunting. And we go again next round. Well, but they do a fair bit of damage, so I guess you can't blame them for that, but still. And again, a bit of a stack towards that B-bomb site.
This time Freiberg's been the sole man that's gone looking in Palace, actually. May have noticed that actually nobody was there, but look at this, they're all up mid. 3 members, Freiberg getting tagged and pushed down. shots raining through. So the rotate once again is coming out. This time around, doesn't look like it's going to be anywhere near as successful. They're completely locked out of sight. But the bomb was left. TSM have only just picked that up. Cajun beat all the way around. Oh, Carrigan with the MAC-10. Not the best weapon from range that he's got, but at this point, it will work out well for him. And quickly, Dupree comes in to back him up. So it should be TSM's round here. Just Allo and GetRight, the two remaining against 4 members of TSM. So good start for TSM, exactly what they needed here on the T side. How are NiP going to respond? They're going to have the rifle round coming up now. What are they going to do? Because they've actually, I mean, they've obviously stacked out sides with the pistol, tried to try something fancy against TSM, try something loose. Hasn't worked out. Back to default now. I
think for the first buy round, you kind of have to play something default. The one thing that could deviate from that is the fact that they're not going to be able to get a double op setup. So if they feel like that's their best shot at actually winning CT rounds on this map, then they might try to play aggressive. Whether it be, you know, a 3-man push up mid to gain mid control early, or aggressive in apps with 2 people, that type of thing. That's, you know, 2 very real possibilities. But with no ops, I'm very curious to see what NiP are going to do. But I think they kind of have to go aggressive because they don't really have that many nades really to hold people back either. Sure, they have a lot of smokes and flashes, but they don't have any Molotovs. And Molotovs are the really scary things on Mirage.
Well, mid-control picked up, but GetRight might be able to find Carrigan around the side, but no. Carrigan answers. He's been on point with his AWP throughout this game so far. That nade not quite catching on towards Forest. He managed to back away, but Freiburg does find one down in dark there as they push on towards A site. And that was a good flash. It stopped Device pushing through up ramp there. It is A site that they're going to try and hit here. And this is a rotate coming out from NiP. This is delay tactics working well. Freiburg gets himself tucked in, but it's Carrigan they have to deal with. He's certainly been the man of a big presence here for TSM. And once again, he lands the shot. Device covers him off. Good little crossfire. Finally gets taken down. Exist not quite getting on towards Dupree there. Did manage to get the kill, but Device quickly responded. And that's really been what TSM have had this time. Every kill they have is answered in kind. They are backing each other up nicely with the crossfires.
Yeah, and Carrigan is doing an immense job actually getting early frags with those ops. And even when they're taking sites, you wouldn't favor the op to be the one to open up sites for you, but he's actually doing that as well. So that's extremely well done by him. And NiP ran into the problem there where they held back the initial push from TSM, but well, eventually they ran out of nades. And Device already starting off strong here. NiP are on an eco though.
Well, it's a full Deagle setup they went with, apart from Alu, I think. Forrest rushed on through down ramp. He tried to catch out, but Device was ready for him. TSM set up, maybe expecting some aggression this time around. Exist does find Cajun B. And now actually Exist has gone aggressive. He's dropped on through and he may find more. He's going to manage to get himself an AK. Gets one. Can he make it even more? Tries to get the spray down, but Dupree is not going to fall for that one. He's going to collect the bomb, but that gave him a lot of information. GetRight and Alu are going on the hunt while Freiburg's making the long route around. But this means that GetRight and Alu, they're going to be coming from the same direction, and Freiburg's the man that has to slow them down. A 3-on-3. Now, that AK has been collected. It's actually in Alu's hands. I wonder if he's going to pass it on to GetRight, who's got full hit points, or whether they're just going to try and hold the angle. GetRight's got himself an orb. Good lord, this is...
It's a pretty nice catch for NiP. And that obviously tells you that seeing how they found these weapons, they're not going to try to retake this bomb site, which could have been a possibility if they only had pistols. Now it's pretty much them setting up for exit kills and Freiburg looking to see if he can find an AK for himself.
It may work out for him. Device is close, but he doesn't quite land the headshot. He will get out. And it's going to be TSM taking it 13-7. Just 3 rounds from taking it to this third map, which of course will be Inferno. And got to assume that you'd favor TSM, but right now assumptions have just gone out the window.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could go with gut feeling. That's probably the most accurate thing you can go for, but there we go. The double op setup coming out from NiP. And this is where they have to do it. They have to stop TSM right now because TSM are building up a bank just by winning a lot of rounds. Even though they're losing members here and there, they're still going to be able to by being on that T side. And NiP with this big of an investment, even though one of the ops is from the previous round, they're going to have to stop TSM right now.
Forrest might find Cajun B. He's got the AWP over on B site. Cajun B forces him back, but that's the shot that TSM needed. They open up A site. Freiburg going down. GetRight and Alu over in jungle and connector. They're going to get smoked off as Device continues to go on the hunt. Alu's going to have to make the long rotate round. Get right, expecting that lurker, expecting someone to come around the back, but it's not really happening. Cajun B's the man that's going to come around, but he's a long way off as the bomb goes down. Still, only the one man down, but Get Right will drop. Device finds him as he pushes through towards jungle. And now NiP, they're starting to look to save their weapons. They're starting to look to just hold on. Device is going to wrap around. Alu gets picked off by Dupree. And one by one, NiP fall. Forest still hangs on, clings to that orb as he gets tested. Exist is going to be the single man to hold him at bay. Zipnix finds him, quickly backs out there. He's going to go in, pre-firing around the corner. Should be enough to take him down. And Forest will drop towards the end there. So NiP completely cleaned out. And more importantly, TSM now just 2 rounds from victory.
Yeah, no, pretty awful round for NiP. And you know, the scenario we spoke about very early on in the game and during the pauses, but the fact that more and more teams are doing these executes without any nades, and, well, an auto sniper on Get Right. So not sharing the carry could have dropped the Colt there for Forest, but he's going to go with UMP and Alu getting the first pick off the Kerrigan in mid.
Well, Alu was the man that managed to turn the T side a little in towards their favor, but NiP yet to pick up a round on CT. TSM absolutely dominated, but let's see if Get Right can make use of this. He's already managed to find one. Forest with the UMP could certainly get a good challenge on towards Cajun B. And with that bomb making its way around mid, this is actually a very good setup for NiP with those 2 down. Tag's going to come through. Forest finds one, doesn't check to the left-hand side, but it doesn't matter. Alu is there, and now the last man standing gets a good tag. It's Zipnix, and that's going to force Alu to back away. He needs to keep hold of this weapon. Just the 1 health. Wow, a nade into jungle would get themselves a double kill, but sadly for Zipnix, he only has the molly in hand. He gets a good spray down in fist. This is not beyond the realms of possibility because both Freiburg and Alu are next to no health. And Zipnix, with 40 seconds to go, can go anywhere on the map.
Yeah, and I think even if Zipnix's chances of actually winning the round aren't that high, just taking out NiP members in this type of situation is massive for them.
Freiburg's actually got himself onto Tetris. Zipnix.
When both the low HP members from NiP are on the same
That flash
side.
is going to work. That's going to catch him. Oh, the flash hadn't quite popped off in time. Freiburg does take him down, and NiP live to hang on. 14-8. TSM, of course, can just afford to buy straight back up.
Yeah. So no money worries just yet for TSM, but obviously it's not a trend that can continue for them if they want to keep buying up. Because getting that op on Kerrigan over and over again is really expensive.
So where's Kerrigan going? He's going to go towards B side, which is actually where Get Right's holding that auto sniper, which so many people hate, but you know what? It works. It simply works.
It's kind of fitting to see Get Right being the one pick it up as well. But it's not going to work out versus Kerrigan with the op. And already a man down on B bomb site.
Is that going to force a rotation? Because TSM are still stacked out, you see. Oh, Forest is going to get caught out. Alu responds, gets himself one, gets a little check. Cajun B, oh, he's just pushing around the corner. Doesn't manage to land the shot the second time of asking, and now Cajun will put the pressure on towards him. Freiburg's trying to do one-man holding defense here. We've seen it before, but I don't think it's going to happen this time. Zipnix will push on through and now Exist all alone with TSM looking at map point. And it does seem that we will have a 3-map series. Inferno is beckoning. You've got to assume that TSM would be the favored team going into that one, but NiP did manage to take down Envious on Inferno earlier on. They themselves are a very good team, but it was a close game. TSM, I think, are a step above when it comes to Inferno teams, but Exist looks like he's going to get hunted down here. Bomb's about to go off. I don't think he's going to be able to keep hold of this weapon. Cajun B is going to be one that challenges, but now they know where he is. Is there any nades available? No. He should be safe as long as he tucks himself away. No, it's not going to happen. Dupree finds him.
So, yeah. From bad to worse for NiP right now. Not going to have any real money to work with here in the last round, or potentially last round. You can see auto shotgun being bought up by Forest here.
God.
A lot of shotguns just in general, which is kind of surprising, but that tells me that they want to go aggressive somewhere.
Yeah.
So A apps, B apps, basically just
straight to A ramp.
Yeah.
That looks like where it's going to go. Freiburg up close and personal. Well, we saw a lot of this coming out of Fnatic earlier on. it worked out well for them. I mean, you kind of expect it from Flusher these days. It's something, it's almost a staple diet. Alu's actually going on a really big hunt. He's wrapping around. He's almost around T-spawn.
Yeah.
So he's going a long way around while TSM are holding it rampy. Occasion B is going to get a little peek around now. Doesn't really have the close range weapon. Get Right will get picked off. Everything goes TSM's way. And now you've got to assume we will be going to a map 3 as TSM close it out here. Forrest gets one down. Can't get the second as Carrigan once again, ever present, booms in with that orb. He has been certainly the man of this map, no doubt about it. 23 kills to his name, and he has stopped NiP dead in their tracks. The momentum has been derailed, and TSM take it 16-8. We're going to map 3. It will be Inferno.
No, definitely an impressive, bounce back from TSM right there on Mirage. To be expected, I think it's fair to say. I think even though NiP had such a good showing on the first map, I think everyone expected Mirage to go in the favor of TSM here. But to me, Inferno, that's a coin toss, really.
But the smiles are back on the faces of TSM. Some big grins all around. They are certainly happy with that result, and why not? Because they were a little worried, I think it's safe to say, after 4-2 beginnings.
Yeah, and then PC problems, you name it. Bit of delays, and that can easily throw you off your game as well, but they definitely show that they had the staying power, so no resemblance, no flashbacks to the old days of choking performances, so that's a really good sign for TSM.
Of course, everybody's hoping that they can get towards the finals, maybe see that Fnatic TSM best of 5. Best of 5 it is, of course, tomorrow. That will be at 7 o'clock. That's the final. But let's see if Virtus.pro and Fnatic can make a difference. That's going to be coming up after this one, of course, but we have one map to go. It will be Inferno. It's TSM versus NiP, and it should be getting underway in just a few moments. Once these guys sort out, have a quick break, and they'll be ready to go. Are you a Bay-lever? that is the phrase for TSM. I don't know whether it's actually come across to the CS scene. It's definitely the League of Legends side, because of course they were all from San Francisco.
Exactly. I remember the Bay Life spam and Twitch,
God, yes.
numerous Twitch chats.
Oh, good Lord. Yes.
So definitely recognize that. I'm not really sure when that got brought over to CS, but I guess it's kind of a universal thing now.
It's unusual to see them in Bay Life t-shirts. I haven't seen them for a while, actually, but TSM, their repertoire of t-shirts is certainly large.
There's no doubt about it. I think they actually, they have 4 different shirts on. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby, that's for sure. But okay, let's be realistic now.
Yeah.
Do we feel the pressure suddenly actually struck and suddenly NiP slowed down?
I actually think that, as weird as it sounds, because the other option than losing map 2 is winning, right? So you'd be over with it. I think NiP at this point kind of feels like, well,
we've got nothing to lose still.
Yeah, now we really don't, we're back to square one. We don't have anything to lose anymore. So I think that can work in their favor. That said, you mentioned it several times, TSM extremely strong on Inferno. And I think especially their T side is really good on this map. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And what was kind of the big factor for NiP versus Envious was their T side. That was excellent versus Envious. So, it's going to be the battle of the 2 T sides for both teams.
Well, as the players take a break, let's hear what you guys have to say. It's over to Sean in the crowd.
Thank you so much, Lee. We're down here in the crowd. The kids are enjoying it, of course, because we are 1-1. Exactly whatever we wanted. We're going to that third. And right here I have, who are you rooting for, sir?
Pardon?
Who are you rooting for?
I'm voting for NiP.
NiP. And who's your favorite NiP player?
All of them. The group is amazing.
Group's amazing. Words are right there. You, good sir, what's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel, who are you rooting for?
Well, TSM.
And favorite TSM player?
Well, I like the whole organization. I'm a League of Legends player, I'll be honest.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're like Daniel and you like League of Legends, we have great news because League of Legends is coming to San Jose in the San Jose Sharks Stadium, and that's with the Intel Extreme Masters. So you could be there for League of Legends, or you could be there for Counter-Strike. So head over, you have no excuse, get involved. Esports is coming to you, support that scene. Now, of course, something that's really important here is all the people that are working here at the Games 15. All around Dubai, there are both volunteers that are working and the guys that are actually putting this on, and they're doing such a great job. I want to take this opportunity to thank them because they're absolutely fantastic. And I'm sure if we ask guys, are you having fun here at Games 15? They are. They're very enthusiastic, which is a good thing because it's a great match. I have to say, I don't know if I could call it. I mean, it's going to be a big next match, but I know guys that can definitely call it, and that's the geniuses over at our expert desk, and they are led by the wonderful man himself, the Machine.
Back to the studio, Alan.
Thank you very much, both Crowd and Sean, for that wonderful introduction. I think we also have to credit Sean for being the smoothest man in the world, currently residing in Dubai, for that segue between a League of Legends fan and the League of Legends going on in San Jose later on. So a round of applause for him. I'm going to give him a pat on the back when I see him.
Yeah.
And
someone give him a raise.
I think he does, yeah, most definitely. Every kind of smooth message he sends, he gets a little bump.
Yeah, you know what I like as well? You know, the audience is there and they're touching his face and thinking that they'll try and throw him up. What they don't know is that Sean loves that.
Yeah,
so.
that actually drives him.
Yeah, they're not throwing him off, they're just feeding him more energy.
He thrives on it.
Yeah, he performs his best when there is a crowd massaging his face at random intervals. But anyway, face massages aside, guys, I think we should talk a little bit about CS, if you fancy it.
Okay, if you want, Alex.
All right, I guess we'll talk about some CS. First things we need to talk about is Mirage. Of course, I want to make sure we have plenty of time to address the third and most important map currently for this best of 3, but let's close down on it, Mirage, and kind of summarize that. We went into that one after our little slight delay, saying you're expected to see a third. We have.
Yeah.
So any kind of closing thoughts, Anders?
I think Moses and I got it right.
Yeah, first time for everything, eh?
There we go.
Oh, man.
You had to do that, didn't you? Well, I mean, that means we're going to go into fun. I think Mirage, just like a lot of control for TSM, they played pretty well on CT side. They got enough rounds that they needed. Terrorist side, as we kind of expected, a lot harder for NiP to hold everything. And they were as we kind of expect TSM to be on that map on the terrorist side. Just too much control for the Danes.
Yeah, and a lot of that control came from that performance from Kerrigan. What was it, 23 kills, but, you know,
yeah,
it's a solid number. It's not the highest we've seen in this tournament, but just the way that AWP controlled the map helped TSM out a lot, gained map control, provided them openings elsewhere. Big time performance from him moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward, perfectly segue. That was almost a Sean segue into Inferno.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I'm quite literally scribbling down every time he pulls the wing in the crowd. But yeah, Inferno, we need to talk about Inferno because this is going to be our third and final map in this best of 3. NiP surprising us on Dust 2. TSM, fair to say, returning to kind of standard TSM over on Mirage?
Yeah. But I mean, here's my fear about this: is you know, normally when you you know, you want to use the past performance for these teams to try and predict what's coming next. But which past of NiP do we use? Because this is, I mean, if you look at the recent history, this is a whole completely different team that we're seeing at this event out of NiP. We've mentioned it multiple times. So I mean, this is a team. You know, I mentioned it, even predicting that NiP was going to lose that first map for sure, was that these players are so good at, you know, making the best out of impossible situations. They're the ones who can, you know, they are like that Mission Impossible. You know, they get given something that we say you can't do, and they make me specifically eat my words.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wish we could talk a whole lot more about that one. There's so much that's going to go down on Inferno. It's going to be a real blockbuster. And we are going to take a quick break after I hear what you guys are calling this one. Anders is desperate to let everyone know that he's a Dane at heart, I assume.
Yeah,
or holding the NiP flag with the fan club.
Talking TSM, am I right?
Yeah.
And how about you, Moses? You seen this one?
Yeah, I got to stick with TSM.
Okay. Des calling the NiP victory on Dust 2 a bit of an anomaly, as it does look like they're expected to see this one go the way of the Danish side. Team Solo Mid. We'll be back after this, and we'll see if the Des can get it right for a second time.